we can decrease, if not completely, hopefully, eliminate leaking when we sneeze, when we laugh, when we cough, when we jump on the trampoline. We have to get to the root cause, people. We can't just put a Band-Aid on it. So please, for the love of all good of the pelvic floor, don't do any more Kegels. Hey, beautiful humans. Welcome back to Vaginally Speaking. I'm Allison, an occupational therapist and certified lactation consultant, and I help women reconnect with their bodies, their strength, and their vaginas. Yeah, I said it. Here, there's nothing TMI, and everything is figure-outable. So let's dive right into it. You're at Target, my favorite store. You know what I'm talking about. In the morning at 7 a.m., nobody's there. You're walking around with your coffee. You're enjoying the quietness, minding your own business. And then boom, you sneeze. And you pee a little. And you stand there and you think, well, I did have a baby. I guess this is my new normal. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I don't care if you heard it from your sister, your mom, your auntie, your grandma, your friends, or your provider. Not normal. Common. This is exactly why we're doing this series, because we've all been there. We've all Googled or now ChatGPT'd at 2 a.m. the things we're too embarrassed to ask out loud. So I am literally going to Google, actually I'm going to ChatGPT since this is AI, it is really become the big thing. Why do I pee when I sneeze? So give me a second. Okay, here is the answer. Sneezing and urinating at the same time can be a common issue, especially for women. Here are a few reasons. Pressure on the bladder, weak pelvic floor muscles, stress incontinence, overactive bladder. Tips for management. Coming in hot at number 1, Kegel exercises. Number 2, consult a doctor. Okay, so here's my little breakdown of what the pelvic floor is actually telling you. What's actually happening here. So that little squirt of urine, it isn't because your bladder hates you, although sometimes we may think it. It's because your pelvic floor muscles and your core aren't coordinating when pressure hits. So kind of like what it talks about with that pressure management, right? So we need to think about it. When you sneeze, your diaphragm pushes down, your abs tighten, and your pelvic floor, if it doesn't lift at the same time, there's going to be drops come out because it wants to go somewhere, that pressure. And this is called stress urinary incontinence, and it's super common. But common does not equal normal. Now, what did ChatGPT tell us to do to fix this? Dun, dun, dun. Kegels. But here's the thing. We know not everyone needs more tightening. We know that Kegels are just a Band-Aid. Sometimes our pelvic floor is actually too tight, which means the muscles can't relax. And if they can't relax, guess what? They can't properly lift when we sneeze because it can't do the full range of motion. So if you're doing 100 Kegels a day or sitting at the stoplight and doing them until it turns green, you're probably still going to leak. And you're going to think, am I broken? What's happening? Guess this really is just my new norm. No, you're not broken. This isn't your new norm. And your body is asking for balance, not forceful picking up blueberries or sucking a smoothie through the straw, if you've heard that. These can actually make your symptoms worse. Now, here's the other thing that can help or that can make things worse for your pelvic floor, like holding our breath when we lift things. That's also not letting it know how to properly coordinate. Not managing our constipation. Yes, poop has a lot to do with our pelvic floor, and it's not something people like to talk about or even correlate has to do with the pelvic floor, especially if they're under the assumption that all of this happened just because they pushed a baby out of their vaginal opening. Doing crunches or ab workouts not properly, and we're not breathing or breathing correctly, all of that pressure is going down into our pelvic floor. And for my mamas, pregnancy and childbirth stretch and strain those muscles so much, but we can absolutely retrain those. I do this work every day with my patients, and we see huge improvements. When we teach your body how to breathe, how to coordinate, and how to support pressure the right way, then we can decrease, if not completely, hopefully, eliminate leaking when we sneeze, when we laugh, when we cough, when we jump on the trampoline. We have to get to the root cause, people. We can't just put a Band-Aid on it. So please, for the love of all good of the pelvic floor, don't do any more Kegels. The takeaway, one more time, no more Kegels. Our body needs actual root cause improvement. If you leak when you sneeze, your pelvic floor is trying to tell you something. And spoiler alert, it's fixable. You don't need pads forever. You don't need to cross your legs every time you laugh. You don't need surgery. You just need awareness and the right guidance from the right provider. So, next week, we're diving into another ChatGPT. Let's see if your pelvic floor, is my pelvic floor weak or is it too tight, is our next question. Stay tuned to know what actually is the answer from ChatGPT and what my suggestion is. Because yes, you can be too strong down there and it can cause just as many issues. If you love this combo, share it with a friend who also sneezes with fear, or come hang out with me on Instagram at Allison Germanson or at One Strong Woman. And remember, leaking might be common, but is not your new normal. Toodles.